So, what we're going to talk about today is how to leverage marketing automation to triple your conversions. This is a very important topic. Stick around, I think you'll get a lot from it. And so, this is part of our accelerated growth model, where first you got to drive leads, then you have to maximize conversion, and then you want to optimize results. And it's really an ongoing process. And so, it's not the sort of thing where you kind of just do it. You do it in waves, right? So you drive leads, maximize conversion, optimize results. Okay, what can I do better? What should I double down and invest more in? And then you reinvest in driving more leads, and it's a process of continual improvement. And this is part of our digital dominance method. And to really compete well online today, you can't just pick and choose. I mean, you can if you have limited amounts you can invest, but certainly over time, you don't want to leave any of this behind, because as it gets more and more competitive online, you will be left behind. And so you have to address each one of those things. And so I like to do webinars that really cover each little piece of this in more detail. And today we're talking about the marketing automation part. And so who am I and why should you listen to me? I'm the author of the book Online Marketing for Electricians. I've worked with dozens of contracting companies, own electrician marketers, and I've owned digital agencies going back to 2011. Been doing this for a long time. We've worked with thousands of customers across many, many, many industries and on 6 continents all across the world. Very, very experienced team. We've done a lot, seen a lot. We know what we're doing. And so let's dive right in. What are the biggest challenges overall when it comes to marketing? When you think about marketing problems, and the one that we hear across industries time and time again is always, it's not enough leads, not enough leads, not enough leads. Okay, that's number one. Or there are sub complaints. Let me call it that. Low lead quality. So they get leads, but they think they're low quality. It's fair. Or they cost too much, too low ROI. And those are all real problems. That's absolutely the case a lot of the time. But when you have a well dialed in campaign, you're not just starting, you've been doing it, you've optimized some of the other stages of the process, optimizing landing pages and things like that, it shouldn't be the case. And so the question is, why is that happening? Could be a lack of clear tracking for ROI. We've seen that certainly can be, but at the end of the day, and at least on a gut level or a qualitative level, how your leads are translating into business, right? So, whether you're tracking it precisely or not, you can tell if there's a problem. Normally, you may not know why it's there, but you can tell there's a problem there. And figuring all this stuff out, there's often too many options. Like what do you pick? How do you measure it? What do you pick? What's the solution? What should you use? It can be confusing and somewhat challenging. And so the question I would suggest is the lead flow really the problem? And sometimes it is, but many times it's not. And the biggest problem is often unconverted leads. And so here's the problem. So, and this is broadly across industries. I own a number of agencies, a couple agencies, and we see a lot of data across multiple industries. So just looking very broadly and not honing in on electricians per se, somewhere around 50 to 60% on average, depending on your industry, of the inbound leads leave unconverted. And like 90% of web forms can fail to convert. Okay, so here's why. Many times, if you don't follow up with that lead within 15 minutes, it will go cold. And that's before you talk to them. After you talk to them, the average customer, especially on higher dollar things, will have to be followed up 5 to 7 times before booking. If it's an urgent repair, typically that's not the case. But if it's a generator install, if it's a rewiring, like a new panel, They may not act on that right away. You might got to chase them a little bit. They might want to price you out. Okay. So you got to follow up with them. And then also, today's consumer, typically the younger folks, prefer to interact via text message instead of a phone call and email. Now, that is not me. I do not want to text message businesses. I can't stand it. But just looking at my sales folks, our customers want to text with us. And so we do. But that's not me. So it's a little bit foreign to me, but it's clearly the way the market works and the way it's heading. So what is the solution to this? The solution is leverage marketing automation to follow up with web forms within the first 2 minutes via not phone, but email and text, and follow up with phone. But that's separate from, marketing automation tips you off, but it's not going to make the phone call for you until you have like an AI agent, but we don't want to go there. And then automate the follow-up. Say you send a quote so that each prospect is communicated with or touched 5+ times and able to engage via two-way text messaging. You know who's great about this? Car dealerships. I just had some service done on one of my cars and just text me constantly. And that's good because that actually was handy for me versus trying to deal with emails and stuff. Even though I don't like it, it was convenient. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. It's fine. So let's look at some simple math, right? So say that you get 100 leads and your conversion rate is only 30% without follow-up. Okay, so that means out of those 100 leads, you're only going to book 30 jobs. And let's say your average ticket is 650. That might be a little low, but let's just go with it for the purposes of this example. Then that's going to translate into $19,500 in revenue. Okay, it's all right. But let's say you implement basic but solid automated follow-up. Well, that could reasonably take your conversion rate up to 70%. It really could. What does that look like? Now you've booked 70 jobs out of that 100, same average ticket. Now you're taking in $45,500. That's a difference of $26,000. And you didn't spend anything material to get there. You didn't pay for more leads, right? You just did a better job of converting the ones that came in. That's the kind of power that marketing automation truly does have. It makes every lead more valuable. It just does. It makes complete sense. So what are some of your key takeaways so far? Clearly, if you're not doing marketing automation and following up with your leads, you've got to do it. And we'll go through this even more. If you haven't been convinced yet, you will be. So let's talk about 3 ways to increase conversions. Okay, the first one is engage how your customers want to engage. So if they want to text you, text you. If they don't want to text you, text them anyway. Let them opt out if they don't want to. You got to do that, especially the mobile carriers have cracked down on this a lot lately with the A2P registration and campaigns and stuff. But give them the option. Most of them want to do it. It blows my mind, but they do. So let them do it. And in fact, it's actually better for you because 98 of all, it's not like email where you just kind of sit on unread. 98% of all text messages are opened and 95% of them are responded to. And US consumers are 5 times more likely to send and receive text messages than phone calls. Again, this is all weird and foreign to me, but this is what the studies show. So you want to implement this in your business. Just make things easier for your customers. It makes them happy and you get more of them. Makes sense, right? So the second thing is follow up quickly. You already touched on this a little bit, but if you don't follow up within 15 minutes, it's going to go cold. And not only that, a follow-up within 5 minutes is 21 times more effective than calling after 30 minutes. After 5 minutes, the odds of qualifying a lead drop by 80%, and half of leads go with the vendor that responds first. And so if you think about this from just the way you shop or just, the way commerce and things have changed over the last decade or two, this makes sense, right? We live in an Amazon world now. People want it now. They want it fast. They just want to go, assess it, make a decision, boom, be done. And A lot of times they will view even services as commodities. You know, you may be the best electrician within 30 miles, but you know, the average consumer won't be able to tell the difference necessarily between that and good enough. And so you have to be on top of your game. You have to be the one who responds quickly and effectively. Okay. So the third thing you can do is leverage automation. And this actually helps you do both number one and number two. It will help you engage with customers how they want to be engaged and to follow quickly. And let's talk about how. So, what does the ideal outcome look like? It looks like somebody reaches out to you via web form. They get an email and a text within 30 seconds, and a call from someone at your company within 5 minutes. That's ideal. And second, once you've talked and presented the solution in a quote, follow up with them at least 7 times via email, SMS, and phone until they book or they tell you they're not interested. And they'll ghost you if they go with someone else, you know this, but do it anyway, because some of them are still thinking about it, and some of them you might tick off, but if they're that sensitive, they're not going to be a good customer anyway. But some of them are just, they got everybody's busy. They got something else to do. They're not ready to make a decision yet. Stay engaged and you'll get more sales. We just had someone follow up back with us today that we talked to like 2 months ago. We just kind of stay on them gently, here and there, and then we're talking again. Happens all the time. So what does this look like? Here's kind of a fancied up graphic of it, but we'll break this down into sections and talk about what this looks like. That's what we'll do next. So don't get too focused on this right now, but it looks something like this. This is like a flow chart of actions that happen. We'll talk about it. So I want you to ask yourself, if you followed up with all of your leads in that way, quickly and effectively, would you convert more of them? I think the answer is obviously yes. If you're not doing this, it is certainly yes. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And remember, this is just a math problem. So, you get a certain number of leads every month. If you only convert 40% of them at an average ticket, you're going to get, a certain revenue number. So your return is what it is. And this is a great return on this spend. This is fantastic. But what if it could be even better? What if you took a conversion rate to 65%? So you increased it by over 50%, right? About 50%. Massively improves your ROI and your profitability. It goes straight to the bottom line. You did not spend more money to get here, or nothing material, right? The software is cheap. It's like $100 a month. Okay, so that's not a lot. Certainly not to go from, an increase in revenue of over $100,000. It's a no-brainer. You take that deal all day long, every single day. So let's talk about, how do you implement this in your business? And we'll go piece by piece here. So the first thing is, traffic goes to your landing page, could be from SEO, maps, Google ads, whatever. It ends up on your website or landing page. They fill out a form. Then they go to a thank you page, or that's better than flashing a little message at the bottom that people never see. Take them to a thank you page. It tells them that it was successful. Should always do that. Okay. So you're familiar with this, probably have it on your website now or something like it. I can't tell you how many times here locally I've reached out to new, we moved here a couple of years ago, not that long ago. I can't tell you how many times I've reached out, and I'm a forms guy. I don't feel like picking up the phone and talking to somebody. Maybe I'll chat, but really just I'll send a form, send me an email back. Let me consider it. I'm busy. I'll get back to you when I can. Just send me an email. That's what I want. Okay. So I fill out forms. Almost every time across industries, they do not get back to me. It blows my mind. I cannot believe it. And these aren't like small companies. These are generally the bigger players in the market. They're most visible. I'm a internet marketing guy, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna favor the guys that are supposedly doing this stuff right. It's shocking to me how often they fail this. Don't even get the form. It's probably because their email, they probably get notification, but whoever sets up their stuff didn't configure the email right. It's ending up in spam on their end. Nobody knows. I mean, that's probably what it is, but they're losing business. I've gone to different providers because of it. And if you don't have this stuff nailed down right, that's happening to you too. I can guarantee it. 100%. I'm shocked how often it happens. And it should tell you that there's a massive opportunity for you if you do this right. And vast majority do not. It's awful. It's terrible. Lots of money left on the table. So, put forms, get estimates, whatever you need, just put them on your site. Make it easy. People will fill them out. That's all you got to do. Okay, so what happens? Here's the first part of that tree. From the customer's perspective, when you have marketing automation in place, you build a smart form, customer fills out the form, they go to a thank you page, like, oh, great, I sent it in. And then, bam, they get a text message, they get an email at basically the same time, right? Text message says, hey, thanks for, reaching out, blah, blah, blah. Here's the next step. Would you like to schedule a time? Or, whatever your process is, right? Get a text and an email. You can also put some logic and some awareness into these things too. So if they reply yes, send a message. If they reply no, okay, we'll do it this way, right? So already you're kind of giving them options for how they want to interact, and you're hitting them on, multiple ways of reaching them. They may not like all the messages, but I can, and we've had people complain about it. It's like, okay, but you know who doesn't buy from you? The people you don't send those messages to. Do you know who buys from me? The people I send those messages to. So, I'm going to keep doing it. Okay, so they go through this form, and then they go to a calendar, right? Schedule the call, schedule the service, whatever. Done. Like taken care of. They've this problem is solved for them. And we do this. If you've ever scheduled a call with us, you're going to see this exact process. You're going to fill out a form, and if you fill out that form, it's going to take you to a calendar. And now our automation's engaged and it's working and it's waiting for you. And if you don't fill out if you don't book a time on that calendar, it's going to send you and be like, hey, you didn't book a time. Here's a link to go back to the calendar and do that. And we'll pester you like, hey, you filled, next step is let's get this calendar thing done. And if you still don't do that, your salesperson is going to call you because you expressed intent and booking with us. We're gonna chase you and make you do it, right? And if you book that calendar, it'll take you to yet another form. And this other form is to get more information. So in our calls, we offer like a marketing audit. Like, let's take a look at your area, who your competitors are, how they're doing, so on and so forth. But to make that call maximally relevant to you, we need to know who you think your competitors are, because what we might see may not always reflect, who you feel your competitors are, or who's the strongest in the market, or who you run into the most. So we want to hear it from you so we can customize the presentation for you. And so if you don't do that form, it's going to send different automation that says, hey, forgot to fill out this form. We really need this information from you to make this presentation as best it possibly can be for you. And it'll bug you. It's a couple times before the call. Like, hey, you got to do this. And once you do that, just be a couple reminders, maybe a case study, maybe, hey, here's what we do. Here's what to expect. Here's a video. Here's a webinar I did, right? Just keeping engaged with you until you show up for the call. So this is the kind of stuff that we do, and it's extremely effective. It'll work for you too. Okay, so back to the presentation. Customer schedule service, great. Now, here's the parallel track. At the same time, an email is going to the right person at your customer, at your company rather. And depending on the type of software that you're using, a push notification. Hey, lead came in. Here's their name. Here's the number. Here's what they said. So now your team knows. All right. Now they can see, did they book yet? No, I'm gonna give them a call. Right. So now you've done it. Just in setting this up, someone completes a lead, a form on your site. They've gotten an email. They've gotten a text message. And within 5 minutes, if they haven't booked, they're getting a phone call. Boom. You've done it. It's that simple. That's all you got to do. Now, put it all together, and this is that sequence, right? This is what we just went through. You've got the form fill, you've got the messaging sequence for the customer and the booking, you've got the messaging sequence for your internal team. That's it. That's marketing automation. on the lead side, right? And it's going to work no matter what your source traffic is. Now, for Home Advisor and Thumbtack, and that can be a little more complicated. But if those things send you an email letting you know you have a lead, you can set up automations that, it depends on how they notify you. And I guess it's Angie now, but you know what I'm saying. You can set up at least notifications that, hey, you got a new Angie lead, you got a new Thumbtack lead. If you use those things, give them a call, right? Stuff like that. And you can kick off similar automations depending on your system to do that. And so remember, if you don't follow up within 15 minutes, it goes cold. If you don't follow up within 5, you're much less likely to be in the game. And people respond to text messages. So do this stuff. So I want you to, again, ask yourself, will this make you or your company more money? If you're not doing it, yes. No way it won't. Will it help you convert more of your leads and grow your business? Yes. This is the secret weapon that people don't use. Got to do it. And remember, in this case, it made $100,000 difference. Makes a big difference. So you may not have a lead problem. You may have a conversion problem, and it's easily solved. There's lots of different tools out there that do this. Lots. You may already have one and just don't have the functionality. But if you don't, we use Revenue Commander. It's our own software. And if you interact with us at all, you're interacting with us through Revenue Commander. You're filling out a Revenue Commander form. You're booking a call on a Revenue Commander calendar. You're receiving emails and text messages from the Revenue Commander platform. Our sales team is receiving it. Our operations team is receiving what they need to put together your presentation. All those things. It's all Revenue Commander. The process to see this webinar, Revenue Commander. All these things. We run a ton of stuff through here. And it's great software. Can replace easily $1,000 per month of monthly software charges. It does email marketing, does the text messaging, booking and appointments, the automations we were talking about. It can do call tracking, reputation management, all that kind of stuff. It's a fantastic platform. We use it for all that stuff. And we sell access to it, your own setup with some customized stuff in it, $97 a month, plus a one-time fee to help you set it up and configure it. It's a great solution. It's not the only one, but it's what we use. It's what we know how to use. It's what we recommend. And if you're not using anything, just use something. Doesn't matter what it is. Just hit the objectives. Get them a text, get them an email, get them a call within 5 minutes. Follow up with them. Once you made the quote, you'll make more money. It doesn't cost you more in any sort of material way. It goes right to the bottom line. This is one of those things that's a no-brainer. Got to do it. So if you need help, you can post Let's Talk in the comments. We'll see it and follow up with you. Otherwise, give it a shot on our site. So go to electricianmarketingagency.com/apply-now. Fill out the you'll watch the process happen. Fill out the form and take it to a calendar. If you sit on that calendar for a minute, you'll see an email hit you. Book the calendar, you see another set go. Give it a shot. See what it does. You'll see how it works. Or if you want to skip all that, just give us a call directly. Jason will answer if he's not busy. And we'd love to talk to you. So that concludes the webinar. I hope this was useful information for you. And please, if you're not doing this, don't be that company that doesn't answer those forms. Because I can tell you, at least from my personal experience, they've lost business from me. And I don't want you to be the company losing that business.